Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is for Course 3, Lesson 2-7, Powers and Exponents. Our objectives here are to write, simplify, and evaluate expressions involving exponents. Okay, I already have this one filled out because I was interrupted and I needed to start over, so I will try not to go too fast with this. Again, if I ever start going too fast with any of this, remember you can always pause until you catch up, or pause if you need to think about what I've said. Okay, we have a few vocab words. Our first one is an exponent. An exponent tells how many times a base is used as a factor. The base, or a base, is the factor in a power. And finally, a power is an expression using a base and an exponent. Okay, if you'll look at the little diagram underneath where we have these definitions, we see that we have something that all of us would read as 2 to the 5th power. Well, the base of 2 and the exponent of 5 written together like this, that's the power itself. This whole expression is the power. The exponent is 5, the base is 2. The reason the exponent is 5 is because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's, and the base is 2 because 2 is the factor that's repeated over and over again. So basically this tells us that there are 5 factors of 2. If we want to find the value of the expression, or simplify the expression, or evaluate the expression, we would actually do the math. Okay, so 2 to the 5th power, if you check it out on a calculator, gives you 32. That one's simple enough, you might be able to do in your head. Just remember that does not mean 2 times 5. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. Okay. The next one. Example 1. Writing with exponents. So we want to write using exponents. It's not asking us to simplify or evaluate, so we're not going to do that. But I start out with 2 times 2 times 2 times 7 times 7. 2 is a factor 3 times, and 7 is a factor twice, or 2 times. So my answer is 2 cubed times 7 squared. Cubed is a way of saying to the 3rd power. Squared is a way of saying to the 2nd power. You should be familiar with that terminology, even though you may not choose to use it. That is those are very common terms that you should be familiar with. B. We have 5 times 5 times P times Q times Q. So 5 and Q are factors 2 times each, and P is a factor once. So just going with that, that gives me 5 squared P to the 1st, Q to the 2nd. And most often we don't even write the 1st power of anything, so 5 squared P, Q squared. Remember, in this case, I want to caution you that only the Q is squared, not the P, just the Q. If I wanted both of them squared, I would either put a square with the with the P, or I would have some parentheses here. So you want to be careful about, particularly when you're evaluating. Okay, and here is a quick check. As always, do that when you feel is best, either now or later. And here are simplifying expressions using exponents. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover both of these, because I want you to take a look at them before you even start. This is the opposite of 2 to the 6th power, and this is negative 2 to the 6th power. They look almost the same, but they don't mean the same thing. This literally means the opposite of 2 to the 6th power. So you might want to write that as a note to yourself, because a lot of this can be a little confusing. The way I remembered it, because I too would get confused by this, is that if I have the parentheses encasing the negative sign, that negative sign is going to stay with the factor all the way through the problem. Here, this is a free agent, so to speak. It's not stuck to the 2 entirely, but it's going to stay in my answer and affect my answer. Okay, so in the first one, the opposite of 2 to the 6th power, the base is 2. So that means that I'm going to do the opposite of, or negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 to the 6th power is 64. The opposite of 64 is negative 64. So that's the, when I simplify, the opposite of 2 to the 6th power is negative 64. This one, because the 2 and the negative sign are joined together by parentheses, they go everywhere together. So basically, it's negative 2 times 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 negative 2, which is positive 64, because I have an even number of negative factors. So again, almost the same. They look almost the same. Their answers are going to actually at times will be the same, and we'll talk about this a little bit in class, so we will expound on this a bit. But initially, you need to understand that these do not necessarily mean the same thing. In fact, they don't mean the same thing, although sometimes they simplify to the same value. Again, more in class. Be sure to ask, though, if you're totally confused, and we will do our best to get you straightened out. Okay. Evaluating expressions, and this is an application of architecture. You can find the radius of the arch in a doorway with the expression the sum of s squared plus h squared divided by 2h. Okay, so we want to find the radius of a doorway with dimensions s equals 6 feet and h equals 4 feet. Okay, so first off, we take our formula and substitute in the appropriate amounts. So we get 6 squared plus 4 squared. That sum divided by 2 times 4 gives me 36 plus 16, 6 squared, 4 squared, which gives me 52. 2 times 4 is 8. Then I want to simplify. All right, so we're going to take 52 divided by 8. 6 times 8 is 48. That gives me a remainder of 4. Yep, I kept you in the dark on that. And sorry, that's a scribbly there. And then with my remainder and my divisor, I make a fraction 6 4/8. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide the 4 and the 8 by 2, because 4/8 is another name for 1/2. Reduce it, simplify it, whatever. Your answer is 6.5 feet. So the radius of the arch is 6.5 feet. Okay. Again, if any of these parts went too quickly, just you can rewind and go back. I am going to jump back here because I just now, looking back over this, realized that I skipped this. When you are trying to use your calculator and raise numbers to powers other than squared, okay, some of your calculators will have a 2 and then have this little key. It looks like an insert key is what I call it. I'm not sure what the fancy term for it is. It escapes me at the moment. I apologize. But you can type in 2, hit this key, and then type in your exponent, hit the equals, and then you'll get your 64. If you have a calculator like the ones we have in the classroom, you have the y to the x key. So 2 is your base, so 2 y to the x, exponent of 6 equals 64. Okay, that's a quick run through of the 2 most popular types of calculators I've seen. If yours is different, bring it in and I'll try to help you with it. It does get a little tedious typing in factors over and over again, so it's really just not very efficient. So if you have questions about your calculator, certainly you can bring that in as well. Okay, have the quick checks ready for the next time we meet, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.